Okay, picking up with section 4, we're going to go over some very detailed parts that you'll need to know moving forward, okay? Our timeline is set up where we left off. We exported, so here's what I'm going to do is I want to have you go ahead and highlight everything and delete. Hit the delete button on the keyboard and it will take everything off the timeline. Again, once you take your blue cursor here, you want to move that all the way to the beginning of the timeline. Not to here, because you got 2 seconds and 10 frames of black at the beginning here. You want to go all the way back to where these are zeros, okay? So, we're going to use these videos now. Let's go with the old jail perp walk and first appearance court video. So what we're going to do is, again, if you were starting a new project, you would want to take a clip and you drag it, okay? And then what you do is you highlight, now you set your timeline up, you highlight it, you delete it, okay? You take that same clip, you double click, it opens it up into the source window, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do an in and we're going to do an out. There. 4 seconds, 27 frames, almost a 5-second clip. Quite frankly, honestly, that's really too long. Normally you would want to edit your clips in 3 to 4 seconds, and the reason for that, you change clips every 3 to 4 seconds, generally speaking, is because our brains through our eyeballs get bored at about 3 to 4 seconds, so you want to keep the viewer, somebody who's watching the video that you're creating, engaged by changing the shots every 3 to 4 seconds. That's the general rule. There are exceptions. There are reasons why you would go longer, simply because if it's a sports program and it takes a guy 9 seconds to run the entire length of the field, you would let that go for 9 seconds. You wouldn't cut it off at 3 seconds and put some other shot in there. That doesn't make any logical sense. So the generally speaking is when you have generic video or boring video is what this is. The traffic video is boring. The court video is boring. You try to make it a little bit more exciting because you change the shot every 3 to 4 seconds. Okay? So we've got our in, we've got our out, and we hit period. Okay? Now, if you notice, in the timeline area right here, when I said we set up the timeline, we set it up with video 1, that's V1, audio 1, that's A1, audio 2, A2, audio 3, A3, audio 4 is A4, okay? Now, in this particular case, because I was using a camera that shot 4 different audio, video, or audio signals, we have 4 audio channels, okay? Most of the time with you guys, you're going to only have 2, okay? In my case, all my audio is on A2, and you can see that right here. Those little lines, that's audio, those are waveforms, okay? If you want to see them bigger, on your keyboard, you would hit plus, plus, plus. And you can see the waveforms right there, okay? Minus, minus, minus. What that does is compresses and expands your timeline so you can see what's going on, okay? That'll become very helpful in a few minutes. Now, you'll notice that on on A1, A3, and A4, there's nothing on there. So we really don't need them, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command Z and take that off of the timeline. And then I'm going to go over here. And I know that my audio is on A2. I only want to bring over my A2 audio. So I literally turn off by clicking the audio that I don't want. So here you go. Anything that's in blue is turned on. Anything that's in gray or black is turned off. So when I go back up here and I hit period again, it only brings over the audio that's on there Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. It doesn't bring over all 4 channels of audio. It only brings over the one I want. Again, production editing, journalism editing. Bring over, make your decisions before. Okay? Now, we're going to go, and I'm going to go to the beginning, pop to the end. We're going to go to another clip. Let's go with this clip. Let's go up here. We'll do an in. And an out. Okay? 3 seconds and 16 frames. All right? We're going to do a period. And again, because we haven't turned on these, it's only going to bring over the audio that I want. Okay? If I hit Command Z and back it up, and I have this one turned on, it will bring over, well, I guess I'll have to have both of them turned on. It'll bring over that audio that I don't want. There's no reason to have it there. There's nothing on it. So I just turn it off like that. Okay? And I bring it over. All right, we're using our sequence editing. There's that. We're going to go here. We're going to go back with the judge. We'll bring him up here to the source window. We'll do an in. We'll do an out, and we'll do a period, okay? Now, let's say, now there's a wide shot, a kind of a tight shot, and that's a very similar frame shot, kind of a tight shot, but because the subject matter is different, it's a different framed shot, okay? Let's say we want to put right there, let's say we want to put another shot right there. So here's what we want to do. We want to put this shot right here. We're going to do an in and an out. Remember I told you it would put it right where the blue line is, all right? If we put it right where the blue line is, it's going to cover up the rest of it. So we hit period, okay? It covers up the period, okay? But you look at this. Right here, we have one input, one output. In, out, all right? That's only 2 seconds and 2 frames. So what it did is only put 2 seconds and 2 frames here. All right. So it put that shot there for 2 seconds and 2 frames, and then you go back to the judge. There's a problem with that because what that did is it created what's called a flash frame. Okay. Maybe you don't want the judge there. So you have to go in here and delete. Okay. Or I'll put it back by Command Z. Or I can back up. Okay. And I can do my in and my out on my timeline. Instead of up here in the source line, I can go to my timeline and I say, okay, this is where I want it to start. There's an end point. And then I pop to the end, and that's where I want it to end. This creates a problem for the computer. You can do it this way, so your in and your out are on your timeline, but you also have an in and an out on the source window. So your computer doesn't know which one you want. Where does it start? Where does it end? It's got 2 beginnings and 2 ends. What we're doing is 3-point editing. We want 2 beginnings and 1 end. 3 points. So right now we have it set up for 4 points. So we have in point 1, in point 2, in out point 1, and out point 2. So we have to get rid of one of these out points or in points, okay? So the easiest thing to do is to get rid of, on the source window, the out point. To do that, you have to right-click in the source window, and you see right here where it says clear out. You can clear in and out, you can clear in, but we're going to clear out. And what that did is that allowed the out point to go all the way to the end, okay, where there's no designation of where it's going to finish. And now we have 3-point editing. 1, 2, 3. And we hit period. And it covered exactly where we wanted it to go. Okay? Exactly where we wanted it to go. All right? Now, this will be coming in handy when you start editing packages. You start editing packages, you will want to create your timeline with your B-roll, your A-roll, and then go back and fill in your B-roll, and I'll show you that in another tutorial, okay? But that's basically 3-point editing, all right? And how to turn audio off and on right here, all right? If it makes sense to you, anything that you don't want here, if it's got 4 audios up here in your source window and on your source, but you don't need 4 audios, you only need the 1 audio, okay? You can do that. You can make that happen. All you got to do is turn them on, turn them off, okay? Turn them on, turn them off. And you only want the ones that you want on, yellow, in the blue. Those are the ones that you want to keep them on. And that will allow you to put your audio where you want it to go and use the amount of audio that you need, okay? Because if you don't do that, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to build you, at the back end, I'm going to build a timeline again. I'm going to go up to this one, and we're going to hit period. We're going to go to this one. I'm going to hit period. So your timeline looks like this. It's very messy this way, okay? There's a lot of unnecessary junk in it, okay? So if you turn it off, you don't need you know that you don't need A1, A3, A4. You just turn them off and you only use what you need, all right? In step 5 tutorial, we'll go into a little bit about formatting and using pictures on your timeline.